The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. The new Commissioner of Police speaks about the increase in murders in 2024 and property crimes dropping while complaints against the police climb. And other officers may be charged in connection with that CDU probe. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Duquesa Dean will be joining us. Also this morning, we are having a discussion on birthright citizenship. U.S. President Donald Trump says he wants to end that for the United States. But it has us questioning whether we do need to take a critical look at our citizenship rules here, and Article 7 of the Constitution specifically, and pathways to citizenship for folks born to parents who are undocumented in the Bahamas. We're going to have a deep discussion about that heading into business as well. That's all ahead, but first it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, murders shot up by 9% in 2024 compared to the previous year, although overall crime decreased by 10%. That's according to statistics released by Commissioner of Police Shanton Knowles yesterday. There are 120 murders in 2024 compared to 110 in 2023. Police figures showing that the majority of murders in 2024, 105, took place in New Providence. There were 12 murders in Grand Bahama and 3 in the Family Islands. Of the murders last year, 62% have been what the police call solved. Most of the 2024 murder victims were between 18 and 45 years old, accounting for 78%. Retaliation, gang activity, and conflict were the most common motives for murder, representing 72% collectively. Police say most murders in 2024 occurred on a Saturday or Monday, and were more prevalent in the South Central, Southeastern, and Southwestern divisions of New Providence, accounting for 52% of the overall total. Guns remained the weapon of choice in murders, with firearms used in the commission of 102 last year. 86 of last year's murder victims were known to police, while 18 victims were killed while on bail. Overall, crimes against a person fell by 13%. Attempted murders decreased by 11%. 31 cases in 2024 compared to 35 in 2023. Manslaughter fell by 67%. 1 case in 2024 compared to 3 in 2023. Armed robberies fell by 28%. Unlawful sexual intercourse rose by 5%. 141 cases in 24 compared to 134 in 23. and attempted robberies rose by 29%. The figures for rape, 61 cases in 2024, and attempted rape, with 9 in 2024, were unchanged from 2023. Reported sexual offenses increased by 3%, with 211 incidents. And offenses include rape, unlawful sexual intercourse, including incest, and attempted rape. Most rape victims, 98%, were female, and 74% of the victims knew their assailant. 85 of the victims were under the age of 35. Rape suspects were all male, with 31% under the age of 35. In cases of unlawful sexual intercourse, 66% of the victims were under the age of 14. Well, crimes against the property fell by 10% last year compared to 2023. Every crime in the category saw a decrease except for stolen vehicles, which rose by 53% compared to the previous year, with 392 reported stolen in 2024 compared to 257 the previous year. Nissans were the vehicles most targeted by thieves, representing 36% of all vehicles stolen. The Nissan Note and March were the predominant models stolen, while residences were the most targeted locations. According to the commissioner, stolen vehicles were mostly reported in the southwestern and southeastern divisions of New Providence, accounting for 38% of the overall total. 50% of all stolen vehicles in 2024 were recovered. There was a 23% drop in burglary, an 11% drop in housebreaking, a 16% decrease in shopbreaking, a 17% decrease in stealing, and a 26% drop in stealing from a vehicle. The commissioner attributing the crime figures to good police work and increased productivity among officers. Meanwhile, complaints against police skyrocketed by 114% last year, according to data released yesterday. There were 315 complaints against officers in 2024, compared to 147 complaints in 2023. Complaints from civilians rose by 79%, from 89 cases in 2023 to 159 last year. Internal police complaints jumped by 170%, from 54 cases in 2023 to 146 in 2024. Accusations of corruption against police officers rose by 150% last year. Commissioner Knoll says the police force remains committed to greater transparency in the way it handles complaints against officers. She's also saying that as many as 2 more officers may be charged in connection with a corruption probe into the Central Detective Unit. She says they've put 4 officers before the courts and they're looking at 2 other officers, or, quote, at least looking at the evidence to determine if there is sufficient evidence to place those officers before the courts or before the tribunal. As you may recall, last week, 4 policemen were accused of attempting to extort money from a suspect. That investigation stemming from leaked recordings of alleged phone calls between Michael Fox Jr., who was wanted for questioning about the theft of a $1.475 million from an armored car that was left unattended at Nassau Airport, and the former head of the CDU, Chief Superintendent Michael Johnson, and Fox's lawyer, Bjorn Ferguson. In other news, a man was charged with murder and arson Monday. The charges against 46-year-old Quinton Russell stem from the January 6th fire that claimed the life of Aniska Bonaby. Prosecutors say Russell set his former girlfriend ablaze at her home on West End Avenue. Russell was not required to enter pleas to the charges when he made the initial appearance before Assistant Chief Magistrate Carolyn Vogt Evans. He was denied bail, and the matter has been adjourned to May 21st. Meanwhile, 2 men appeared before Chief Magistrate Roberta Reckley charged with the murder of a 23-year-old mother of 3. Devon Brennan and Mario Stewart are charged with murder and abetment to murder concerning the January 26th death of Valeria Sands. She was shot while in a yard on Finlayson Street. The men were not required to enter pleas to the charges, and the matter has been adjourned to May 8th. And a police corporal fined and placed on probation for soliciting sex from an underage girl. Senior Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson ordered Gregory Taylor to pay a $15,000 fine and place probation for a year Failing to pay the fine or violating the terms of probation will result in a 3-year prison sentence. Taylor received the penalty after he pleaded guilty to attempted procuration. According to the prosecution, the 13-year-old initiated contact with Taylor after getting his number from her mother's phone. Taylor gave the mother his number after she made a complaint concerning a relative. Taylor and the minor's conversations later turned sexual, with him asking her to perform sex acts. In an earlier court appearance, Taylor apologized to the girl and her mother. According to Taylor, the offense was out of character as he worked with young people for years without anything inappropriate happening. Overseas, U.S. President Donald Trump is agreeing to a 30-day pause on his tariff threats against Mexico and Canada as America's two largest trading partners took steps to appease his concerns about border security and drug trafficking. The pauses provide a cool-down period after a tumultuous few days that put North America on the cusp of a trade war that risked crushing economic growth, causing prices to soar and ending two of the United States' most critical partnerships. Trump posting on social media, quote, "I am very pleased with this initial outcome, and the tariffs announced on Saturday will be paused for a 30-day period to see whether or not a final economic deal with Canada can be structured. Fairness for all." Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau posted Monday afternoon on X, formerly Twitter, that the pause would occur, quote, "while we work together," saying that his government would name a fentanyl czar, list Mexican cartels as terrorist groups, and launch a Canada-U.S. joint strike force to combat organized crime, fentanyl, and money laundering. The pause followed a similar move with Mexico that allows for a period of negotiations over drug smuggling and illegal immigration. The 10% tariff that Trump ordered on China is still set to go into effect today, though Trump planned to talk to Chinese President Xi Jinping in the next few days. And as expected, China has countered Trump's across-the-board tariffs on Chinese products with tariffs on select U.S. imports today, as well as announcing an antitrust investigation into Google and other trade measures. U.S. tariffs on products from Canada and Mexico were set to go into effect Tuesday before Trump agreed to that 30-day pause. The Chinese response has been measured. Analysts are saying China is much better prepared to counter Trump's tariffs, with the government announcing a slew of measures that cut across different sectors of the economy, from energy to individual U.S. companies. And U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying that El Salvador's president has offered to accept deportees from the U.S. of any nationality, including violent American criminals now imprisoned in the United States. President Nayib Bukele has agreed to, quote, "the most unprecedented, extraordinary migratory agreement anywhere in the world," according to Rubio, who said after his meeting with Bukele, quote, "we can send them and he will put them in his jails." Again, this is said to be of migrants of all nationalities detained in the United States. Rubio saying Bukele, quote, "also offered to do the same for dangerous criminals currently in custody and serving their sentences in the United States, even though they're U.S. citizens or legal residents." Rubio was visiting El Salvador to press a friendly government to do more to meet President Donald Trump's demands for a major crackdown on immigration. Bukele confirmed the offer in a post on X, saying El Salvador has, quote, "offered the United States the opportunity to outsource part of its prison system." He said his country would accept only convicted criminals and would charge a fee that would be, quote, "relatively low for the U.S. but significant for us, making our entire prison system sustainable." The State Department has described El Salvador's overcrowded prisons as, quote, "harsh and dangerous." On its current country information webpage, it says, quote, "in many facilities, provisions for sanitation, potable water, ventilation, temperature control, and lighting are inadequate or non-existent." In sports, an emphatic win by the St. John's College Giants over the Jordan Prince William Falcons at St. John's, creating a bottleneck at the top of the BAISS senior boys basketball standings. And now it's anyone's game as the league moves into playoffs today. The Giants slamming the Falcons 65-25, leaving four teams with a 10-2 win-loss record at the end of the regular season. The Falcons, the Queens College Comets, and the Charles W. Saunders Cougars all finished 10-2. A point spread is used to determine the pennant winner and seedings going into today's playoffs. The pennant winner will face the fourth-seeded team today, and the second and third-seeded teams will battle tomorrow, all in sudden death games to determine the championship teams. As for the game on their home court on Monday, the Giants left nothing for chance, aggressively taking it to the Falcons early and often. They surged ahead and never looked back in a resounding wire-to-wire victory. You can read all about the thrilling match in today's Guardian Sports section. And Trinidad and Tobago, as you know, will host the Carifta Games, the track and field games. Will take place April 19th through 21st, while the aquatics is scheduled for April 19th through 23rd, culminating in an open water swim on April 23rd. The Carifta qualifiers list experienced an increase, resulting in several athletes qualifying for the upcoming events. But there are some safety concerns about Trinidad and Tobago hosting the event. The country is under a state of emergency that was declared in late December and extended for an additional 3 months, allowing for security forces to search and detain individuals and property without a warrant. As Bahamian athletes plan to travel to Trinidad and Tobago for the Easter holiday weekend, Youth, Sports and Culture Minister Mario Boleg noted that while it's early in the process, the Bahamas will implement necessary measures to ensure safety for all involved. You can read about it in today's Guardian Sports section. From the NFL, star defensive end Myles Garrett has requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns with the hope of better positioning himself to win a Super Bowl. The Browns finished last in the AFC North with a 3-14 record, and general manager Andrew Berry has said that he would not trade Garrett in the offseason, saying he anticipated Garrett going directly from the Browns to the Pro Hall of Fame. A Browns spokesman said Monday the team is not entertaining trade offers for Garrett. Garrett is under contract with the Browns for 2 more seasons under a 5-year, $125 million extension he signed in 2020. Garrett, telling the Associated Press, or who was the Associated Press NFL Defensive Player of the Year last year, is a finalist for the award again. His 14 sacks ranked second in the league, and he became the first player in NFL history to record 14 or more in 4 consecutive seasons. He holds a franchise record with 102.5 career sacks. And from the NBA, DeAndre Ayton had 25 points and 20 rebounds. And the Bahamian Portland Trail Blazers star helping his team edge the Phoenix Suns 121-119 in overtime Monday night for their 4th consecutive victory. Portland also beat Phoenix 127-108 on Saturday night. The Blazers had a 120-117 lead when Denny Adija fouled Devin Booker on a 3-pointer with 4.4 seconds left. Booker made the first 2 free throws, but missed the third, which Ayton grabbed for his 20th rebound. Booker scored 34 points while becoming the franchise's career scoring leader. Kevin Durant had 27 points for the Suns, and Bradley Beal finished with 25. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In weather for today, we've got a dominating high pressure system that's going to maintain conditions or remain across the country for the remainder of the week. While this warm air mass that we've been seeing will support light showers over the country, a tighter pressure gradient between the high and an area of low pressure in the Caribbean Sea will maintain some fresh to strong winds and moderate sea swells in the central and southeastern islands. Winds in the northern and northwest Bahamas remain light and gentle during this week. We do have a near gale watch in effect for the waters near Inagua through Thursday. Small craft operators in that area should remain in port. And that means there's a moderate to high risk of rip currents for the central and southeast Bahamas, as well as all Atlantic shorelines across the country. Beachgoers are being urged to exercise caution in these areas. And swimmers should not enter the waters of the southeast Bahamas. A slight risk of mist and patchy fog in the early morning hours over the northern and northwest Bahamas over the next few days, so keep that in mind if you are a motorist or pedestrian and other road users. Your forecast for today, partly mostly sunny, turning fair tonight over most areas. We've got a less than 10% chance of showers, to 20% chance for the central islands. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, but northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots for the central islands and southeastern islands. Temperatures today, we're looking at another warm day. Highs around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 66 Fahrenheit. About 19 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home. For fresh news, smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Are you ready to break up with your car? Easy Car Sales invites you to fall in love with an electric vehicle. Ditch the gas pump, the expensive mechanics. Feel the freedom, the power. Visit easy242.com and make a date to test drive an electric vehicle today. Get into a better relationship. Find your perfect match at Easy Car Sales and drive electric happily ever after.
Now let me see now. 326 ETIC. Hello. This Epic battery. This Miss Beulah from round the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326 EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
Alpha Sounds Promotion presents Back to Love, an unforgettable evening of smooth R&B vibes and cherished memories. Join us at the Nassau Cruise Port on Saturday, February 15th for a spectacular all-white affair featuring live performances by soul sensations Freddie Jackson,
Hey everybody, it's Freddie Jackson. I'm coming to Nassau, Bahamas, and we are looking forward to the night of love.
Also performing Regina Bell. Also featuring Bahamas' very own Essence Band. Back to Love. Saturday, February 15th. It's a spectacular all-white affair at the Nassau Cruise Ports. Get tickets online. BahamasEtickets.com. Plantation Bar and Grill. Big Boys Cafe. And Tropics Bar and Grill. For more info, contact 822-6863.
And I hope to see you there.
Spain sounds like this. But with a little Caribbean, it can sound like this. The world needs more Caribbean. And with FedEx, you can ship your products to every corner with increased cargo capabilities, 24/7 shipment tracking, and shipping tools. Take your business worldwide and enjoy life a bit more like us.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or are tech troubles simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow, Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line 422-4796. It's powered by BTC. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Duquesa Dean. Duquesa, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas.
Hope you're doing well.
I am well, thanks. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Good.
All right, we've got a lot to do this morning. We are going to be giving away tickets for 2 to be Running in Love, the event for City of Hope, coming up in this weekend. That's this weekend. It's Saturday. So if you are taking part, only answer questions for this trivia if you're going to be doing it. Please. Okay. Please. I know plenty of people know answers to stuff, but if you want to take part.
So you're giving away tickets for one couple?
Yeah.
That's 2 tickets?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we want to add to that, and we want to give tickets to cancer survivors or patients or caretakers who want to participate as well. So we'll give away 2. So that's 4 tickets we'll give away.
Yeah,
our group, the Jenny Dean
okay.
Cancer Support Group. So that means that we'll give 4 tickets, which is 2 couples, and then you have that giveaway as well.
What?
Because it's per couple.
So when you're gonna? Oh, I see. So 2 and 2.
Right.
So okay, you want to do that today?
Yeah, we can do that today too.
All right. Well, so I have a trivia question for this one. You have something for that
I'll
one?
come up with something. All
right. So we're gonna spread this out throughout the day, and you're gonna have many opportunities to do this. Most of the shows on Guardian Radio, the weekday shows, are going to be doing this giveaways between now and Friday for you to take part in the event. On Saturday, we're very happy to partner with Four Seasons Race Management and City of Hope for Running in Love 3 this Saturday. And again, you don't have to be boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. You could be
friends,
brother, sister, friends,
cousins.
just two people together. That's all that's running in love. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. We're going to give the trivia in a little bit. So we've got 4 to give away. All right. 2 pairs this morning. Also this morning, we are going to have a discussion. This is a tough one for a lot of people, but birthright citizenship. We don't quite have that here.
Right.
But if you were born here to folks who are not citizens, undocumented, you are entitled to apply for citizenship at 18.
Correct.
We are going to have a discussion today about whether even that should be allowed. Should there be a pathway to citizenship for you if your parents were here, are undocumented?
Right.
We're going to look at what Trump is proposing, and we've got some folks who have some interesting views on it this morning. Want to hear from you on that as well. We're going to do that in our 8 o'clock hour, heading into our 9 o'clock business hour this morning. We've been promising to have that discussion for a while. We've had it sporadically here and there, but really going deep into it and taking a look at what the Constitution says on the matter and whether it is time for an adjustment here, the pros and cons of it all. That's coming up today, but there's a lot to talk about right now in the news. And in the news, the big story involving the crime stats that the new commissioner of police, Shanton Knowles, revealed yesterday. We're going to get into that in just a bit. Just want to talk about this. I know a lot of Bahamians have been very, very, very concerned about this. But the latest developments coming out of the U.S. This is quite interesting. So, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said late Monday that El Salvador and its president has offered to accept deportees from the U.S. of any nationality, including violent American criminals now imprisoned in the United States. So all from Trump was sworn in, we've got lots of people calling in concerned about people will be deported to the Bahamas as a result of this. And so... Okay. Anyway, so let's read from the Associated Press. So, El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, has apparently, according to Rubio, agreed to, quote, the most unprecedented, extraordinary migratory agreement anywhere in the world. This is what Rubio said after meeting with Bukele at his lakeside country house outside San Salvador, which is the capital of El Salvador, for several hours. Rubio said of the migrants of all nationalities detained in the United States, quote, we can send them and he will put them in his jails.
What?
Okay. And he's offered to do the same for dangerous criminals currently in custody and serving their sentences in the United States, even though they're U.S. citizens or legal residents.
What? Wait, read some more, though. Yes, what's the benefit to him?
Oh, money. Everything's money, of course. But why would a country want to do this?
Criminals.
It's money, but still. Now, Rubio was visiting El Salvador to press a friendly government to do more to meet President Donald Trump's demands for a major crackdown on immigration. Bukele confirmed the offer in a post on X, saying that El Salvador has, quote, offered the United States of America the opportunity to outsource part of its prison system.
Wow.
He said his country would accept only convicted criminals and would charge a fee that would, quote, be relatively low for the U.S. but significant to us, making our entire prison system sustainable. Elon Musk, the billionaire working with Trump to remake the federal government, responded on his platform X saying, quote, great idea. Oh, dear. So you know what that means. This is a disaster. Anyway, after Rubio spoke, a U.S. official said the Trump administration had no current plans to try to deport American citizens, but said Bukele's offer was significant. The U.S. government cannot deport American citizens, and such a move would be met with significant legal challenges. But this is me adding this part. But everybody else...
everyone else could go.
Okay. So the State Department has described El Salvador's overcrowded prisons as, quote, harsh and dangerous. On its current country information webpage, it says, quote, in many facilities, provisions for sanitation, potable water, ventilation, temperature control, and lighting are inadequate or non-existent. So many Bahamians will feel right at home if they've been to...
I had the thought,
been
but
to
didn't
United
say
States
it.
prison to be like, hey.
What? So they go from the
Nassau.
lap of luxury.
Where?
It's in U.S. prisons. I mean, it's not technically the lap of
Well,
luxury.
again,
but
plenty of the people who folks here are concerned about are not in prison, right? But might be deported because they shouldn't be there. But they might not technically be. Well, anyway, Rubio arrived in San Salvador shortly after watching a U.S.-funded deportation flight with 43 migrants leave from Panama for Colombia. That came a day after Rubio delivered a warning to Panama that unless the government moved immediately to eliminate China's presence at the Panama Canal, the U.S. would act to do so. What does that mean?
I want to know. They have jurisdiction in Panama?
No. Oh boy. Migration, though, was the main issue of the day, as it will be for the next stops on Rubio's 5-nation Central American tour of Costa Rica, Guatemala, and the Dominican Republic after Panama and El Salvador. His tour is taking place at a time of turmoil in Washington, D.C. over the status of the government's main foreign development agency. Trump's administration prioritizes stopping people from making the journey to the United States and has worked with regional countries to boost immigration enforcement on their borders, as well as to accept deportees from the United States. The agreement Rubio described for El Salvador to accept foreign nationals arrested in the United States for violating U.S. immigration laws is known as a Safe Third Country Agreement. Officials have suggested this might be an option for Venezuelan gang members convicted of crimes in the United States should Venezuela refuse to accept them. But Rubio said Bukele's offer was for detainees of any nationality. And again, this is some of our callers have been saying that plenty of people who left the Bahamas to go to the U.S., who might not be from here, but they're from countries that won't take them back, that the U.S. was going to try to send them back, but now they've found a third country that would be willing to take them all.
But convicted felons only was his stipulation, right? He said they have to be convicted.
Well, I guess they would be convicted of
felons.
being in the country illegally. So that would be probably what would take place there.
Or like committing a crime in America.
If you're not supposed to be there, they're trying to get you out.
No, I mean, yes, I understand that. But this agreement is for people who are there legally and have not committed crimes, or is it, like I'm not going to say a real crime.
That's a crime.
Right,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, who
Violent criminals. It's for everybody. Everybody. They will send them all.
That's a bit
to the
harsh.
great new prison plantation of El Salvador.
That doesn't have sanitary conditions or temperature control, or so essentially you're going to go to
Bahamian
hell.
standard prisons.
It sounds worse than ours, though. It does. At least some of them have like air condition and yes.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm
You
sure.
mean the offices?
No, I mean like the inmates.
Did you hear the news yesterday?
No.
About the inmate who was stabbed while they were all clearing out their night waste buckets? They were lined off cleaning out the buckets, and there was a fight, and he was stabbed to death. Yeah. So, yeah, great stuff. Okay, so human rights activists have warned that El Salvador lacks a consistent policy for the treatment of asylum seekers and refugees, and that such an agreement might not be limited to violent criminals. The Secretary General of the leftist opposition party, Manuel Flores, criticized the Safe Third plan, saying it would signal that the region is Washington's backyard to dump the garbage.
What?
I mean, it does sound like that. It really does. After meeting with Bukele, Rubio signed a memorandum of understanding with his Salvadoran counterpart to advance U.S.-El Salvador civil nuclear cooperation. The document could lead to a more formal deal on the cooperation in nuclear power and medicine that the U.S. has with numerous countries. So nuclear power and dumping all the unwanteds. Interesting stuff going on. Let's get your reaction to that, folks. What do you make of that? 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Give us a call toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's hear what you have to say about this. Okay, caller, good morning. You are on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Sawyer.
Strawn. Dwight Strawn.
No problem, Mr. Dwight.
Yeah, just say Dwight. Just call me Dwight.
Today.
Okay.
That's a heads up. That's a piece of news that I haven't got up yet, but this is disgusting. I think Mr. Trump needs to go into that prison.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But in addition to that, yesterday I wanted to call in to say that it's time for our prisoners to have bathroom, a restroom, in their cells, rather than have to take out the buckets, so that avoid the commotion on it. One person was killed from confusion of getting out the buckets and so on.
Oh, you think that's what it was?
Well, they said they were they were doing their routine, their morning routine.
Yes, I mean, but you said killed during the confusion. I don't know if that's what that was.
But,
okay, sure.
This is disgusting. Actually, there's something about Mr. President Trump and his operation and the racism of his first in command, Mr. Elon Moss, the racist from South Africa.
Wow, these are some serious words.
Yes, of course, because we are the asshole countries in the South, and so El Salvador, those prisons are massive, and several of them, when they grab net, they put them all in there, innocent or guilty, and the people are liking it because those were very serious gangs, and so. But, I don't know. The world is coming to an end very quickly.
Well, something's happening, definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate the call. These are, if you were watching this in a movie about the future, you would be saying, "Wow, this is a scary place to be," right? But it's our reality. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Miss Dan.
Good morning.
Hey, Dwight. I watching this deeper than what is surfacing, right? Because Trump also signed an executive order for a sovereign wealth fund for America for the first time, right? Because here's what I'm curious about, right? Nations would have sovereign wealth funds, right, in existence today. They don't allow people to come in their country to become citizens. So if this is what is going to take place inside America, it's all because of, in my view, what has been proposed for a sovereign wealth fund for the citizens of America. Because again, why would you pass something that will help the citizens of your country, right? And only them supposed to be benefiting from it, and still have the gate or the floodgates open for nationalities from all over the world to come to take part inside a sovereign wealth fund that they shouldn't be taking part in.
All right, so I want you to call back when we have the discussion about birthright citizenship, when we to bring this up. I think it'll be an interesting point to raise in that discussion. All right, thanks a lot. All right, so this text is saying, is this the new Auschwitz? Well, can you imagine being a regular person working at a desk job, making a regular salary, and then next day being in a violent prison in El Salvador? Well, hold on now. I mean, are you there? Are you undocumented and over there?
I mean,
illegally in quotation marks? I mean,
that is harsh, though.
What are you doing? Anyway, nobody knowing where you are and no oversight. An illegal immigrant is not automatically criminal. This is not what greatness looks or sounds like.
Yeah. At the same time, there is this clarion call for those who are not citizens to voluntarily leave. If you do not have the right paperwork or permissions to live, work, and exist, you're at risk. And that's clear. Like, you see the raids, you see that this is a no-nonsense approach to cleaning America of illegal immigrants.
That's a serious word.
Yeah, because, I mean, so we have to...
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I like you using it.
You want to use it.
No, I don't want to use that word ever, cleaning.
That's,
in regards to people?
Yes. I mean, that's what they're
unless you're talking
saying.
about showers, right? I don't... Ooh,
So
boy.
It is a harsh reality that you could very well have a soft job, been living there for X amount of years. You know, some of them even have social security numbers and that sort of stuff, but they're not really legit. So, like, it's a hard situation to be in, but choices have to be made. Right?
Wow. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Good. Just know when a country sets its policies, right? And the country determines that's what they're going to do. So when you decide to step into a country illegally, just know that's what you might end up in El Salvador prison. Because the policy states that if you're caught, that might be one of the places you would go. It don't even have to be El Salvador. It could be Guantanamo Bay. It's the policies that he set. You know, that's the risk you run when you want to enter illegally. You know.
Yeah.
But I think the president of El Salvador, I think he is creating an environment where, you know, because he cleaned up El Salvador, it was averaging over almost 7,000 murders, per 100,000 people. You know, that's, right now it's one of the safest places in terms of crime.
Well,
from 2025, look it up.
One of the lowest murder rates. I don't know if safest is the right word to use there, but one of the lowest murder rates, yes.
Zero tolerance. So the people in El Salvador are celebrating.
Radical
and I think his stance, that president's stance on eliminating the Constitution as it relates to people. Once you're a criminal, you ain't got the Constitution on your side anymore.
Yeah.
So
we know how that story normally ends, right? You know how that
exactly.
So
exactly. So but they were one of the highest murder capitals in the world, and I think he had to take some extreme measures. He had to make a decision, and now people feel safe in their country. So his message wasn't praised by many, but it's the crime rate is down. So some extreme measures.
Yeah.
And also, just wanted to make a point. That caller, I know you're saving it for after the break. That caller made a point about, the sovereign wealth fund in America. Listen, once you're a citizen of the nation and they grant you citizenship, you're entitled to everything there. Because you contribute into that society. Once you contribute into society, whether you were born there, so I mean, obviously you have to be born there, and then, or you were granted citizen, you were entitled to the sovereign wealth fund. Because any American is not the native people of that land, and regardless, everyone had to go through a citizenship process. So it doesn't matter, you're entitled to the sovereign wealth fund once you're a citizen.
Okay, interesting. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. One final call on this, and then we're going to move on. Good morning, caller on the air.
Good morning, Dwight and Deneisha.
Good morning.
I think your topic this morning is going to be a very, very interesting one. I'm looking forward to that segment about the birthright conversation. I'm going to listen very intently to the comments and the views of many of the persons, if you have guests, but more in particular, the viewpoints of our Bahamian citizens as in regards to this, because this has been a hotbed topic for quite a long time, and yet it seems to be no true resolution to this matter. To the previous caller who lamented that just because you're a legal migrant does not make you a criminal by law. If you really follow the letter of the law, You are a criminal if you break into this country unbeknownst and you didn't come the proper way. So indeed, you are a criminal. And I just believe that kicking this matter, because it's been used as a political football for a very, very long time, it seems as even this administration is not truly serious at all about dealing with this matter head on. We have to take the gloves off and deal with this matter. But like I said, I'm looking forward to this next conversation, because I'm going to tell you, you're going to get a lot of phone calls in on this, and you will hear the views. But let's continue the conversation. Thanks for taking my call this morning.
Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting discussion. We're going to start that before our 8 o'clock hour and take it into that hour. All right, so let's read a couple messages before we go to a break, and we'll get to the crime stats story. This person says here, the thing I don't like about any illegal immigration talk is that everyone cries and moans about it, and when anybody tries to do something, it is never the right time or the right way. I'm not a fan of Trump by a long shot, but he has the intestinal fortitude to do what he says he will do. If you enter a country illegally, then if you are caught or it's time to leave, then you leave. I hear you. Yeah.
Now, for those, because sometimes everything isn't as black and white. It should be. How does this impact those who are like seeking asylum and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of questions about that, and people don't know how this is going to work. Whether they will still be a safe place for asylum seekers, or are they going to try to cut that down? At the rate they're going, you might do better to stay in the country
you're in, right?
No, some places you got to get out of there.
Or find someplace else.
Oh, boy. Wow. All right. So let's take a break. Yesterday we talked about this briefly, the Grammy Awards of the weekend and Song and Record of the Year. Not Like Us from Kendrick Lamar. And I said it yesterday that, this is such an unusual song to be Record of the Year. It's not generally in keeping with the songs that have won in the past. It's a diss track that we've never played it here. We can't play it because it's not the type of song you could play.
Oh, wow.
So what I'm going to do is show you how generally Record of the Year sounds. And I just want you, I know a lot of people love the song, Not Like Us. But is it worthy of Record of the Year?
I have to go listen to it while we're on the break.
This was a Record of the Year. Everything I Ever Wanted. And we're going to be playing many of them throughout the morning. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Nobody cried. Nobody even noticed. I saw them standing right there. I had a dream. Got everything I wanted, but when I wake up I see you with me. And you say, as long as I'm here, no one can hurt you. Don't wanna lie here, but you can learn to. If I could change the way that you see yourself, you wouldn't wonder why they don't deserve you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
RBC. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure, RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
got your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Find your loan solution with RBC. In your real-time traffic this morning, as usual, Miles Butler Highway, heavy traffic for you from Fire Trail straight up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. If you're heading northbound, you're going to be seeing some slow-moving traffic south of the Fire Trail roundabout as well. A portion heading up to Bellot Road. Fire Trail busy for you eastbound to that roundabout, and Tonic Williams Darling Highway slow-moving westbound to the roundabout, Miles Butler Highway. Over on Glaston Road, slow-moving traffic for you as well. Well, south of Fire Trail, straight up to John F. Kennedy Drive and Bahamar Boulevard. If you're heading northbound, Blue Hill Road also busy for you from St. Vincent straight up to Independence Drive northbound. Traffic backed up a bit on Carmichael eastbound. And some congestion for you on Blue Hill near Cowpen and Zion Boulevard. That area not looking pretty for you in multiple directions, but especially eastbound on Cowpen at the moment. We've got Independence Drive westbound, seeing some slow-moving traffic. Robinson Road and Prince Charles Drive, west of Prince Charles Drive and Soldier, that area looking busy for you, especially as you approach Old Trail. And Prince Charles Drive, the major intersections, along with Eastern Road, seeing some slow-moving westbound traffic this hour. We'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. Morning Blend Traffic brought to you by RBC. Start a conversation at rbc.com/loan/all of you. Get another check of your weather in. We've got dominating high pressure system that's going to remain across the country for the rest of the week. We're dealing with this warm air mass that's supporting light showers throughout the country, but a tighter pressure gradient between the high and an area of low pressure in the Caribbean Sea will maintain some fresh to strong breezes and moderate sea swells in the central and southeastern islands. Winds in the northern and northwest Bahamas remain light and gentle during this week. A near gale watch is in effect for the southeast Bahamas, especially in Nagua, though, and that's going to remain in place through Thursday afternoon. Small craft operators should remain in port. There's a risk of rip currents for waters in the central and southeast Bahamas, as well as Atlantic shorelines across the country. For today, for most areas, partly to mostly sunny. Turning fair tonight, highs in the mid-80s again, around 84, 85 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 66 Fahrenheit, 18, 19 Celsius. In your extended outlook for tomorrow, Wednesday, partly mostly sunny, fair at night. That's going to hold for Thursday as well into Friday and Saturday. And these warm temperatures, highs near 86 Fahrenheit, lows in the upper 60s, will continue straight through to Sunday into Monday. It's a warm February, folks. That's your morning blend weather check brought to you by Easy Car Sales. Head over to Easy Car Sales and experience the electric drive that's impossible not to love. Take a test drive at their Gladstone Road or the new highway location on Abundant Life Road during the month of love and enter for your chance to win a 2-night stay at the Grand Hyatt with a $500 resort credit. Visit easy242.com and feel the love this February at Easy Car Sales.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Are you ready to elevate your day with a burst of flavor? Look no further than Dunkin', your ultimate destination for everything delicious. From our freshly brewed coffee that is sure to pick you up, to our signature frozen beverages that will cool you down. And don't forget our mouth-watering sandwiches, made to order all day. Dunkin' has it all. And of course, our lineup of fresh donuts, muffins, and more. Dive into a world of yummy flavors at Dunkin' and bring joy to your day. The Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Better Lampkin. Besides carrying all the roofing material needed to cover East End, Enterprises also has all the equipment needed to put it together and to protect your workers. At Enterprises, we got hand tools, power and manual, including hacksaws, hammers, mauls, wrecking bars, well, hopefully they won't need them yet, drill bits, tapes, plumb bobs, levels, and more. We got cement, concrete bond and fiber, lime, sand, and P-rock. We got dust masks, safety glasses, gloves, hard hats, and high visibility vests. Lampkin, what we got here at Enterprises is a one-stop shop for builders.
It's time to upgrade the way you enjoy at-home entertainment. Alive Fiber is here. Enjoy all your favorite channels and streaming apps, all at lightning-fast internet speeds with affordable bundles, and it's only a click away. Visit www.alivefiber.com to sign up now. Stay connected, live your life. It's good to be alive.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
RBC. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure, RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We all a part of God's great big family, and the truth, you know, love is all we need. Beyond the world, beyond the children, beyond the ones who make it brighter day.
I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just saying that the record of the year used to be something you could sing in front of everybody and nobody would be looking at you funny and stuff. Am I getting old? What's my issue?
I don't know.
But what's going on with the world though?
That's the question. Like the world has changed.
This is that's the best song of the year. Like,
the world
really?
The world has changed. The world has changed, and then I don't know what's the voting criteria, right? Who influences the vote? Maybe the people that made this election, are different type of people than those in the past. So, but the world has definitely changed.
I know what it is, but I can't say on the air. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so but all day, I'm probably gonna do it all week. Songs that were record of the year. You'll see. One of these things is not like the other.
No, because you can't even play it on the air.
Even the clean one. You can't
listen to just reading some of the lyrics, and it's insanity.
Anyway, okay, so it's that time of the year. The police department, the Royal Bahamas Police Force, issuing their crime stats for the year that was 2024. No real surprises. We know that murders went up. But as they always say, overall crime down. Property crimes down as well. But some of the serious ones not down or down by single digits. So, into this report from our Vonik Toot.
Major crimes decreased by 10% in 2024, according to Commissioner of Police Shanton Knowles, who also revealed that crimes against the person decreased by 13%, while crimes against property were down by 10%. During her first Meet the Press as police chief, Knowles said homicides increased by 9% when compared to 2023. Of the 120 murders reported last year, there were 105 on New Providence, 12 on Grand Bahama, and 3 on the Family Islands.
We were able to solve at least 62% of all murders recorded. Victims between the ages of 18 and 45 represented 78% of all homicides. Again, retaliation, gang, and conflict continue to trend as the most common motives for murder, representing 72% collectively. We noted that homicides were more prevalent in the South Central, Southeastern, and Southwestern divisions, accounting for 52% in the overall total. Firearms were used in the commission of 102 of these incidents, and fatal gunshots remain the leading cause of death.
Armed robberies decreased by 28%, with 265 incidents reported in 2024 when compared to 368 in 2023.
House break-ins decreased by 11%, shop break-ins decreased by 16%, and stealing from vehicles decreased by 26%. The most frequent items stolen from vehicles included cash, cellular phones, and personal effects from Nissan Notes.
Police also saw a decrease in the number of rapes reported.
For the period in review, rape decreased by 6%, with 46 cases, compared to 49 cases in 2023. There was no change in unlawful sexual intercourse cases when compared to 2023, with 90 reports in total. The majority of the sexual offenses victims knew their assailants.
Despite a decrease in most categories, police reported a double-digit increase in traffic fatalities in 2024.
Despite our traffic initiatives and alerts, 66 persons lost their lives in 59 fatal crashes, which represents a 16% increase over the previous year. We conducted thousands of traffic stops and cited motorists that were in violation of traffic laws. We utilized our speed guns to monitor our highways and crack down on reckless drivers as a means to encourage road safety.
Meanwhile, police-involved shootings decreased by 25%, which the commissioner attributed to additional training sessions in justifiable force.
The force recorded 9 incidents of police-involved shooting, resulting in 1 death and 8 non-fatal injuries. The fatal shooting was sent to the coroner's court. There were 159 complaints against police officers made by civilians. 64 remain under investigation. There were 147 internal cases. 27 remain under investigation. 51 of them were withdrawn. 45 remain before the tribunal, 13 officers were interdicted, 8 officers were remanded, and 2 cases were resolved and closed.
As for missing persons, 277 people were reported missing last year. That's an 11% decrease when compared to 2023. Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Vonnie Toon.
All right, so you heard that last part there. 270, what was it, 7 people missing? But apparently they found 256 of them because of just suspense there. Like, what? How many? But 256 of those were found.
Oh, really?
But that's a lot of people still.
It is.
Yeah. And so the other story coming out of this, complaints against the police complaints against police skyrocketed by 114%. According to the data released yesterday, there were 315 complaints against officers in 2024 compared to 147 complaints in 2023. Yeah. All right, so we're going to go to the news. When we come back, we want to talk about this, about what you're hearing with these stats and all of this. Get your reaction to it. This is Morning Blend. Someone's saying, why are you all hating on rap music? No, not at all. Not at all. Just...
Is it...
hate rap? Hating the rap that hates, spewing hate. You know? But this was another record of the year as we go. This is America. Yeah. Anyway, this is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Look how I'm living now. Police be tripping now. Yeah, this is America. Guns in my area. I got the strap.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Winning art store moment from Shelley and Dee Dee.
We're the only full art store in the Bahamas. If we don't have it, we make a list, and trust me, our boss can get that. If you need that, he can get that. You can find sketchbooks, acrylics, the canvases in all sizes, stencils. We have the Angelus that they use on shoes and letters. We're the only persons in Nassau that carries the Montana spray. We have the Krylon sprays, watercolor and paints, the oil, chalk paints, the alcohol paint, metallic paints, the little Floetrol, and we have cleaning products for the artists, thinning products for the artists, and Crayola colors, and glitters, pencils, the Posca markers, and pastels, oil, and the acrylic pastels, dyes. We have airbrush paint. I didn't forget that part of the movie. Gift sets, hobby craft,
Oil, shrimp,
glaze.
stew, shrimp gumbo. But art supplies. We have a lot of them. Sherwin-Williams Art Store. Find colour in every day.
It's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. We've got a dominating high-pressure system that will remain across the Bahamas throughout the remainder of the week, while this warm air mass that we're seeing will support light showers throughout the country. A tighter pressure gradient between the high and an area of low pressure in the Caribbean Sea will maintain fresh to strong winds and moderate sea swells for the central and southeast Bahamas, while winds in the northwest and northern islands will remain light. So there is a moderate to high risk of rip currents for the central and southeast Bahamas, and a near gale watch is in effect for waters around Inagua. Small craft operators should remain in port, beachgoers should exercise caution, and swimmers should not get into the waters, especially in the southeast Bahamas. And keep in mind, during the week, we might be seeing some light mist, patchy fog, as you make your way out before sunrise. Again, for the next few days. For today, for most areas, look for partly to mostly sunny conditions, turning fair tonight. High temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, averaging about 85 Fahrenheit, 29-30 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. In your extended outlook for Wednesday, partly to mostly sunny, fair at night. That's going to hold for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Super Bowl Sunday, and into Monday. And throughout the whole week, we're looking at highs around 86 Fahrenheit for February, folks. Overnight lows in the mid to upper 60s. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams Paints got you covered for all your painting and equipment needs. Visit Sherwin-Williams Paints online or in-store today. Time for another check of your traffic, brought to you by RBC. Find your loan solutions with RBC. In your real-time traffic, we are seeing a number of hotspots. Gladstone Road, heavy traffic northbound for you, straight through to John F. Kennedy Drive, Bahamas Boulevard. If you're heading northbound, your alternate routes are busy as well. Milo Butler Highway, heavy traffic from just north of Carmichael Road, actually, straight through the Fire Trail roundabout all the way up to Tonic Williams-Sterling Highway if you're heading northbound. And they're picking up again as you get closer to the Six-Legged roundabout if you're heading north. Eastbound on John F. Kennedy Drive to Six-Legged is going to be busy for you. Southbound on New Providence Highway, slow-moving traffic there. And southwestbound on Farrington Road, also busy. Back to Tonic Williams-Darling Highway and Milo Butler Highway. Again, heavy northbound Milo Butler traffic. Eastbound on Fire Trail, also busy. And westbound on Tonic Williams-Darling Highway, slow-moving for you at this hour. Independence Drive, both directions, east and westbound, heavy traffic for you between the roundabouts at Blue Hill and East Street. Blue Hill Road not looking pleasant from just north of St. Vincent straight through to the roundabout with Independence Drive. Carmichael back to a bit eastbound to Blue Hill as well. And East Street, north and south of the Soldier Road intersection, looking busy at this hour. Robinson Road, you're basically parked between Prince Charles Soldier Road all the way up to Marathon Road and East West Highway, and slow-moving westbound traffic along Prince Charles Drive at this hour. Similar story on Eastern Road if you're heading westbound just east of Fox Hill to about Johnson Road, and Soldier Road is going to be busy for you northbound to the Bernard, Wolf, and Village Road intersections. Mackey Street seeing some slow-moving traffic as well northbound, and Wolf Road at various spots, especially westbound to East Street. Downtown, we're seeing some slow-moving traffic near Nassau Street on West Bay Street, busy with Duke Street and Bay Street, seeing slow-moving traffic. West Bay also near Saunders Beach, slow-moving eastbound traffic near New Providence Highway. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC. Start a conversation at rbc.com/loan/all of you.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
On Saturday, February 22nd, 2025 at 7 p.m., the Bahamas Convention Center will set the stage for an unforgettable celebration of 25 years of giving back and supporting healthcare education in the Bahamas. Experience a night of excitement with exquisite fine dining, captivating live entertainment, and an inspiring atmosphere as we come together to celebrate and shape a brighter, healthier future. Tickets are available now. Reserve your spot today by emailing dhfoundation@doctorshosp.com or calling 242-302-4640. Sponsorship opportunities are also available to show your support for this important cause. The Doctors Hospital Foundation, 25 years of transforming healthcare and building a legacy. Don't miss this special celebration.
Spain sounds like this. But a little Caribbean, it can sound like this. The world needs more Caribbean. And with FedEx, you can ship your products to every corner. With increased cargo capabilities, 24/7 shipment tracking, and shipping tools, take your business worldwide and enjoy life a bit more like us.
All those loans I had were so overwhelming. Fidelity's debt consolidation loan combined all my loan payments into one easy payment with a built-in savings plan that pays me unbeatable interest. It's time to make that move to Fidelity. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity for you.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Duquessadine. That was a record of the year. Beat It. Everybody knows
that.
Song,
Yeah.
Right? Everybody knows most of the record.
Yeah.
And those are songs, again, you can sing, sing in front of your kids.
Yeah. Nice
But
and
the world's
clean
changed.
and the world has changed.
I need to get with it.
I don't know
Or
if you
get
need
off
to
it.
get with it. Maybe just, just the world has changed. And your voice is needed to help anchor, some of those changes.
Hate is what we're all about now.
Hate and anger.
Man. Beautiful stuff.
No, it's not beautiful.
No?
No,
You
it's
win
not
awards for it. Hey, we are talking what's in the news. Okay, so we're getting a reaction to the crime stats from the Royal Bahamas Police Force. I want to talk about it. So, again, we knew this was going to happen. Murders definitely rose from last year compared to the year before. We had 120 murders in 2024 compared to 110 in 2023. That's a 9% increase. But property crimes dropping 10%. All right, so this texter says, and you can text us as well, 422-4796 and call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, toll free 242-300-5720. This texter says, as I listened to the Commissioner of Police, I realized that nothing has changed in the verbiage coming out of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. It looks like and smells like what comes out of a bull. Oh, dear. Only the faces and voices have changed. The police and the RBPF will have as much success with stopping crime as the doctors at PMH will have at stopping illness. Okay, that's an interesting point there, right? I'm going to pause there because you have more that you've written. But, that is, yes, there's a lot of preventative measures that can be done to prevent illness, but that is generally what you go to the hospital for, to treat your illness.
This is true.
So the police, we need to determine exactly what you want the police, what the police force is there for. And to prevent a lot of things, There's some stuff they can do, and property crimes, yes, a police presence will definitely stop people from breaking into your cars. Will reduce it, breaking into your cars, bringing into your house, and breaking into whatever because the police are all over the place, right? But you wanted to get close to somebody so you could kill them is going to be very hard for the police to stop that. And so when you talk like this, Texture, I'm curious, which one are you speaking about? Are we looking at the violent crimes and the violent nature of our people? Or are you talking about getting a handle on some of these other crimes that I'm concerned about, the lawlessness on the streets? Now, in that regard, I don't know if the police are trying to do anything about that. I don't know if they are.
I just see it from a totally different perspective, though, Dwight, because, the text is saying stopping illness as if it is the hospital's responsibility to do that. Again, that comes down to, in a lot of cases, and unless it is an emergency, to some personal choices people make. We eat bad, we don't exercise, we do the things that cause us to get sick in the long run, and then we go to the hospital. Yeah. It's the very same thing with the police, right? They are here to maintain a safe environment. They're here to prevent people from breaking into homes and that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, it comes back to personal choice. People are making the decision to do criminal activities, which makes the need for the police. At the end of the day, it comes back to personal choice.
Yeah.
So, yes, the hospital is there to care for the sick people. Yes, the police is there to do a job. But they are both in place because of what people are doing for the most part. And that's where the change needs to happen. It needs to happen in people who are making the choices.
The texter goes on to say, and you've got some other issues. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I don't know if you're looking at this the right way. So they go on to say that the police force is too politically compromised. Their job seems to be to pacify the public and draw attention away from the fact that the elected officials have no solutions to solving the crime problem. Every 18 years, a new generation is left to survive in the jungle plantation called the Bahamas. So we have 3 generations past where we've raised the worst of the worst. We must be happy that the worst don't also have, I'm sure they do. Pay attention. They are in our armed forces, and I dare say in Parliament also. Okay, this is a lot. Something's going on, though. I don't think you're looking at this in a rational way. It's getting very long. I don't know how to read all of this. Every single living crime minister. Did you mean to say crime minister? Wow. Minister of Education and Minister of Social Services should be taken to Rawson Square and publicly whipped for failing the youth. Okay, so you've got it.
Wow.
You've got it.
You're looking for someone to blame. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it comes across to me as.
Oh no, it's getting
even worse.
Crazier. Okay. I understand your frustration.
Yes, we do. But there are many, many arms to this. Parents, children who are, just don't want to listen. I mean, there's so many different arms to this. It's just no one person's full responsibility. So.
Oh, my Lord. This text. I don't think I can read this one right here.
Y'all be killing me when you're sending these text messages to Dwight that he can't read. You should see his face. One day you should just log on to see Dwight's facial expression as he reads some of these texts.
I don't know if you're going to get it. This is about the song that we just played.
Wow. I get it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Ooh, this text says not even the faces have changed with the Royal Bahamas Police Force. I mean, come on now.
But it just speaks to how broken the trust is between the police and the general public. People are very skeptical. But I want to give kudos to them. There are some of them that really work hard, and you have to come out with your stats, you have to come out with your receipts, you have to come out showing what you've done, and so this is just normal. This is what's happened. Giving a report, we ask for information. So
I'm curious. Tell me what you expected to hear. What did you think? So she's telling you what happened last year. What were you looking for something else, though? This person says here, I agree. It's like the commissioner took the crumpled notes left in the desk drawer by the former commissioner. I was aggressively pushed off the road twice within the last month, and the commissioner is talking about ice age speed guns and roadblocks.
Yeah, but who pushed you off the road? Was it the police officers?
Well, again, I agree with that part. That I don't know if enough is being done to streets. I say this every day.
Agree.
And that we have all these surveillance cameras, and clearly somebody's seeing the madness that's going on, but it doesn't look like anybody's doing anything.
Someone's watching it.
Right.
You'd like to hope that someone's watching it. But Dwight, again, yes, we need enforcement, but we need people to make better decisions. There are people driving these cars.
Now, many of these people won't make better decisions because there are no consequences for their actions.
Absolutely.
Right? So that we've allowed that to continue. You could do whatever you want on the streets. You can drive on the sidewalk. You can go the wrong way.
Yeah, you can do whatever.
Because no one's going to catch you.
Absolutely.
And even if you see a police officer,
you do it right there with the police officer driving past you too.
The police officer election yesterday, and the police officer, or the 2 days ago, and the guy's speeding out on a red light, and the officer didn't do anything.
Because they were under traffic. Yeah, but they were under traffic police.
Is that how it works?
Right. So like,
okay.
They're police officers.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Certainly.
Like
you will sit there for an hour waiting for a traffic officer to come if you have an accident. Right? They are all law enforcement officers.
Wow.
But thank you for the report. We needed to know that information. What that text said?
Same thing with slavery. Only thing that changed was the color of massa. I expect nothing from a new commissioner of police. Business as usual. Well, I mean, this was a report, a crime stats.
A crime report.
Though.
Right.
So,
right.
You wanted more initiatives.
Oh, who did you want to give the report? I mean,
what are they saying?
Who do they want to give the report, if not the commissioner of police?
What I'm asking you is, how do you feel about this stuff? Right? That yes, we still have a problem with rape and murders in the country, but apparently property crimes are down. Except for stolen vehicles, right?
Well, I think that some of the stats are really impacted by the fact that people just aren't making police reports sometimes because it doesn't make sense to go through that process, and it's a hassle. So I think that may also be having an impact on, some of those stats.
That's a big jump for stolen vehicles from 257 in 2023 to 392 in 2024.
Particularly notes, she said.
Nissans in general. And again, I don't know if that includes the bumpers and the headlights and the other parts of the stolen off vehicles. I don't know if they count that. I don't think they can count that high if they can count that. Good. And again, what are you using the surveillance cameras for?
Pretty.
Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Dwight. Are you calling back?
Hi.
Dwight, you could take 3-4 commissioners back, right, and play their crime report, right, and you will hear them sound identical, right? If a child is bad, right, inside their household, right, and is responsible for the consequences of their badness, right? How that can help that child to stop being bad, right? We living in a country, right, where I hear you all talking about what the people need to do and and that's fine, right? But when there's no consequences for your actions, right? If you could have a person on bail for 3 and 4 murders, right? What message you sending to the people who driving recklessly, house breaking, and doing all of the other nonsense in this country, Dwight? You're not selling no message. So at the end of the day, why it's important for people to make better choices? Some of us or some of them need to be encouraged to make a better decision, right? By implementing things that will encourage them to do that. But when we're in a country where anything is possible for you to do and get away with, man, what are we doing? We are just going around and around and around, and where we can end, nobody knows, right? And some of the things that Texas said is factual, right? Because the commissioners of the police, right? No disrespect to the human person of the police, but I'm talking about the office, right? They have a little political situation going on with them to the point that they can't really do what they want to do. So when we have the politicians running the police force, defense force, and everything else, right? That's where our problem lies, man.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I do want people to know, right? And this texter is saying it too. What are these callers saying? It's a statistics report. Of course, it's going to sound the same. It's so we can make comparisons between years. Right. So, again, I don't know if you were hoping for a different type of
I don't know.
report from the commissioner, and that will likely come in time. But this is where we are. This is what we're dealing with.
2024 report.
Right, how this looks compared to the year before.
Right.
Now, if you want her to outline what I'm going to do about this, again,
like this is just a report.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's take another call. Good morning, you're on the air. Okay, call us back. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. I'm going to read these text messages. Just remind you that we've got a giveaway to do in a few minutes. A pair of tickets, and we're going to do another one a little bit later in the show, for Running in Love 3, which is this Saturday. All you have to do is answer the trivia question. You could win a pair of tickets, but if you're going to take part in the trivia answer giveaway, please be going to the event.
Yes.
Be interested in going and plan to go. A lot of people win things here and never show up to pick up their tickets. They just wanted to win. They just love winning. Everybody wins, I guess. I don't know. This is a text. And also, coming up, we're going to be talking about birthright citizenship and whether Trump is onto something that the Bahamas needs to be considering when we talk about access to citizenship for our country. Okay, this texture says, DeQuest, I remember watching a 60 Minutes episode about a group of out-of-control young elephants in Africa. The elephants were attacking anything that moved and harassing lions. Do you know what the solution was? They brought in a mama elephant. Apparently, the young elephants were all orphans. They had no cooler. The mama elephant put them in check, and order was restored to the jungle. The police need to establish order, not tell the public, I leave it up to you.
Agree. 100% agree with you that it shouldn't be left up to the public. At the same time, it's just not the police responsibility alone. They are to enforce the law. We are to live the law. So this is a partnership. And I agree that there are some people who will be wayward and outward and all that sort of stuff. And that is where the consequences of the laws should come into play to, bring them into doing the right thing. So yeah. You need nurturing. Yeah.
Okay. Caller, give us 1 second. This person says, I agree that it is personal choice. However, the responsibility of the police is to prevent crime. More police on the streets dealing with the bad apples in the force, and the government is there to make laws that will deter people and make them responsible for their actions. It appears as if there is no punishment and no speedy trials. Like how many unlicensed motorcycles are on the street? Not just them. That's the part that is concerning there, and we hope that we will see action on that this year.
And y'all don't complain when the police doing roadblocks and stop checks and that the traffic back up and if there's a police presence on the road to correct those issues.
And when you get a ticket, it shows a picture of you overtaking 50 cars upside down.
Yeah, just go.
Don't go to your cousin on the force and say, deal with this.
Right. Pull my
ticket. You
ticket.
deserve to be punished.
Go pay your fine. Correct. Right.
Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Dwight?
Doing well.
The problem lies within not the police. The police is catch you. The police lock you up. The judiciary let them back out, right? What we ever do is look in the mirror. Do you see any white Bahamians committing any crime and killing one another? It ain't the government. The government, both SNM and PLBs do what they're supposed to do. It's the parents, and we just
the issue. We didn't go there. That's not
the crimes. What they do. I don't know. Our police don't play. You know what I mean? But it's. we be putting all this pressure on the police. It's the parents, and it's us. Look in the mirror, man. My white Bahamian friends don't be doing no stupidness. Throwing garbage all over the place. And killing
okay. I mean, I don't know. I can't say that, actually. I don't know that. But it's not about a race thing. This is definitely not about a race.
Any of them in the papers doing any foolishness?
That doesn't mean anything. But let's not make this about race, right? There's a lot of black people not doing anything either,
politics is about
right?
race because we try to put all the blame, all half of them try to put all the blame on the PLP ain't doing nothing.
Okay.
And the PLP say half of them, it ain't that, man. Michael Jackson say, look in the mirror and stop doing foolishness.
That is correct, and that has nothing to do with race. So yes, everyone needs to do that, and so you'd be surprised what's going on and what's not going on. And tons of black people not doing anything, and but yes, it's about how we are raising our people and who we are.
Right, it's a
and
bunch
what
of
you
things.
stand for
Correct.
personally, and what you will
Correct.
stand for in your
Correct.
families
Agreed.
as well, right?
Agreed.
And for a whole bunch of people, anything goes. Anything goes. All right, a couple more calls before we have to move on. Good morning, caller, you're on the air. Okay, good morning, caller, you're on the air. Something. Hi, good morning, you're on the air.
Hi, Dwight.
Hi,
Morning to your guests.
good morning.
As I listen to your show, and sometimes I try not to really be agitated to call because myself and you normally clash on some issues.
Only when you talk foolishness.
But my understanding is this morning. It appeared to me that, and as I listen, it seems like the public are asking the police to babysit their children. That is my understanding.
It seems
Am I wrong on that?
some people clearly want that.
Huh?
It looks like some people want that.
Why is it that we can't take full responsibility for the poorly socialized children that you wear? Why?
Yeah.
You had your fun. You had your fun. You support the itch. And as a result, you socialize children by making bad decisions. The police are not to babysit your child. The police are to dare to enforce the law of your child. But I'm keep getting this, hearing this, that. And I'm not saying that the police don't also have their issues. But the public at large seems like they want the police to babysit their children when they done had their fun, and then they want to throw it on the police to babysit their children.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this and I'll say this again. We have to reap what we sow. This country, I know, was once a country of discipline, mentorship, nurturing, law and order. We have to accept that the institution of the family has been liberalized. As a result of that, we have poorly socialized children. Now we asking the new commissioner now to babysit your child. That's your responsibility.
Yeah.
Am I right, Miss Dane?
I'm with you so far. Like I agree that there is a responsibility from the home as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I maybe something wrong with me. Something may be wrong with. We have liberalized the institution of the family structure. We have to admit that. And that's why sometimes
Not at all. That's that's not the reason.
Thank
That's
you
not
for
the reason
calling.
why. But I hear you, and you're
Yeah.
right. That desperately needs to be done.
That and that this culture that we're cultivating, that someone else is always to blame.
Right.
That needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But this is the concern is everything needs to happen,
Yeah.
right? And that's the problem. So you need the parents, you need the
Correct.
families
You
to
need
be
the
there.
schools, you need the churches,
Yes.
you need the community.
But we need the
right?
enforcement.
But you
so
need
you
enforcement.
have to act.
It can't work without
swiftly,
the enforcement, right?
And when you see all wrong, you
Yeah.
have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And we are very loose with this.
Yeah.
And certain people can get away with certain
Correct.
things and other people can't. And that's part of the problem there. One more call, and we got a lot of messages to get to. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi. Yes. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight and Jaquessa.
Morning.
Let me ask a very interesting question here. We're talking about law and order in this country. Is there any law that you know about persons who would have, let's say, for instance, using the road, come across a roadblock, go live online to broadcast to everyone, hey, avoid this location because there's a roadblock here, police all over the place, X, Y, Z, ABC. Is there a law, or does the police have anything in place for tracking down persons who do such a thing? Because basically what it does is it encourages law breaking.
Absolutely.
Especially these persons who are still driving without license plates, wrong against the disc.
No license.
And these sort of things. I mean, where's the message from the police force concerning that? That's something that came across my mind a couple of minutes ago, because someone did broadcast through social media of a roadblock telling everyone not to come this way because there's a roadblock.
That's a daily occurrence.
There's a law in the books for that.
Even in WhatsApp groups,
I'm sure
they send it around, don't go this way, don't go that way. So we're part of this culture of,
They could crack down on
chaos.
it. I don't know why they don't. They know the groups. They know the people. They have things, I'm sure. Will claim some nonsense about freedom of speech.
I don't know, right? Because then too, like Dwight, when you travel and when you use waves or all these different, they'll say like police. A camera ahead or whatever, like you have these little alerts that come up on your system to say, this or whatever. So it's an antiquated. Yeah, you've never had that happen?
What?
A camera, speed camera ahead.
Oh, you mean when you're
driving, the alerts that's coming ahead. So it's more like it's a little antiquated version that we do here.
No. But the authorities put that up so that you.
I don't know if it's the authority.
Yes, you can't just put that up.
I don't know if it's the authority.
No, it is. Like this is so. Don't even try it. We don't want you to get a ticket, but you will obey the law because you could get fined. Right? That's not the same thing.
I think there's another system that allows road users to do it as well. I'm telling you. I don't know if anyone knows about it. Text in or a message. I think it's called what is it?
The state isn't supposed to want to get you in trouble. That's the challenge with this country, where for certain things we seem to want to get people in trouble, but for other things we let you get away with literally murder. This texter here says. Crime is always down, but the reality is it never seems so. You mean it feels so, eh? So stop with these unrealistic reports. Okay, so that's the thing. I mean, perhaps that, as Deneisha said earlier, this is what's been reported. This is what they're saying. But if you look deeper, percentages can make you think that it's a huge drop, but it's 1 or 2 or 5.
Right.
So we're generally maintaining the same standards for many years. So yes, it's higher than it should be for a country, for an island of this size, right? But perhaps they are trending down. Crimes against the property are, except for cars being stolen. And that might have a lot to do with police work. But it's a crime against the person that is what is concerning people. And we're mixing everything up together.
Yeah.
So if you leave something out there, maybe not as much as it would have been 10 years ago. Right?
Really?
But if you're walking down the street, will anybody bother you?
Right. Different.
That might be a different story.
Yeah.
And so these are very different things. And you have to take that into consideration, folks. So separate this. Murders are up and violence is up. But somebody taking your stuff might not be as likely as it was a few years ago.
I don't agree.
What does that mean?
I don't agree.
Right, some people won't agree with that. Like, you just didn't report it.
Because the hassle
And
of, what's the point?
So this is the challenge.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's read some of these messages. Crime, we read that already. This person says here, consequence is no coincidence. It's one thing to try to hold the police service accountable, but it is an entirely different thing. Entirely different question who the police are, where do they come from, who gets to become a police officer, and why should we expect them to behave any differently than they are behaving. We need to stop the self-righteous sermons and go raise law-abiding children. And it is about race and culture. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, this person says here, our police don't play. Well, what? No, now that calls them names. Okay. This is in response to a call earlier. The police force looks like they're more focused on victimizing the weak instead of time for brownie points. If most people who have been victimized put in complaints, I think media would be shocked. It's not the parents, It's not the parents. Your environment affects your lifestyle, and police don't target white kids in the Bahamas. This is why we don't have white criminals.
Really? We don't have white criminals? Could you?
That's not true. I believe in the new commissioner of police. She will bring about real change. However, I'm still awaiting the resignation of the current minister of national security. I have another resignation to add to this as well. We want the resignation of the director of immigration too. Wow. Okay, boy, I tell you, roadblocks are fine, but they need to be checking for people's car insurance when they do. Okay.
And driver's license. Show your driver's license. It gives you a license to be behind the wheel.
My elephant story was not about babysitting. It's about oversight.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, we got you.
I want to understand why police vehicles that are outfitted with sirens always are using their horns instead. It seems as if they are abusing their power to bypass traffic. That needs to be addressed. I'm noticing this becoming a regular practice. All right. And depending on where you're going, what you're going through, when you're going through, if you are heading to work and you know you will be late sitting in a roadblock, you might tell me avoid it. It's not always about abetting.
Okay.
Boy.
Okay. That's what we're going to say. Okay.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Coming up, we're going to be talking about the citizenship and birthright citizenship and what should be the rules. We'll look at what's happening around the world, getting some opinions. We want to hear from you about that as well. But I got a trivia question to do right now, folks. If you are the first person with this correct answer, you and a loved one will be running in love this Saturday morning. So here is the question. Name the Four Seasons Race Management's Running in Love Race Series title sponsor. Who's the title sponsor of the Four Seasons Race Management Running in Love Series? And how many years have they sponsored the Running in Love event? If you're listening to the show, we already told you.
Right.
But if you know the answer, please be willing and prepared to take place in the event this Saturday morning. Right? If you know the name of the Four Seasons Race Management Running in Love title sponsor, and you can say how many years they've been sponsoring the event, give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, and you could win. We'll take the calls while we go to the break. So let's do this. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We've been playing records of the year.
I love
over
this
the
one.
years.
I love this one.
You're going to say this about all.
Yeah.
I'm going through the list. This is like one bad song, maybe two now. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio. Stay with us.
Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry. Be happy. In every life we have some trouble. But when you worry, you make it double. Don't worry. Be happy.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
The Water and Sewage Corporation is rolling out new digital meters designed to give you more accurate readings. With advanced technology, you'll be able to monitor your water usage in real time, get more accurate bills and early leak detection to avoid costly surprises. Better service starts now. Watch for our installation team in your neighborhood and get ready to experience the convenience of digital meters. Follow us on our social media platforms for more information.
digital meters from the Water and Sewage Corporation. Innovative, convenient, and designed for you.
Are you craving that fresh, famous food, but don't want to break the bank? Wendy's has got you covered. You can now enjoy the $5 Dave's deal at all participating Wendy's locations. Enjoy a Dave's single, a classic, or spicy chicken sandwich made with fresh ingredients for just $5. So don't compromise on flavor just because you're on a budget. Wendy's always offers fresh, famous food at a great price. Certain conditions apply.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the Know-How team at 396-1101.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Bahamas. Is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business, a special edition of the show on this Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Duquesa Dean. We're doing an interesting show this morning, having a great discussion about birthright citizenship. And inspired by what U.S. President Donald Trump says he wants, but also looking at our citizenship rules and whether they are going to be beneficial for us going forward or need an adjustment as well. We've got two great guests with us, but we want to hear from you as well. But I want to introduce our guests. They've got some very long and interesting titles, and these are great people. But very pleased to have with us Deneisha Moss Balboni. She is the lead of the Knowledge Building Program and formerly the Children's Program at the Institute of Statelessness and Inclusion. Deneisha, you're far away. Let people know where you are, but you still listen to the show and to the station, and we appreciate you. But let people know where you are.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's really nice to be here, and thank you so much for the invitation, Dwight. I am calling in from The Hague in the Netherlands.
Okay, wonderful. Great to have you with us. And also far away, but not that far. We're very pleased to have with us community organizer and policy advocate and Deputy Director of ORG Bahamas and leader of FLO Bahamas, Steffon Evans. Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us.
Good morning. Good morning. Great to be here from the beautiful island of Eleuthera.
Hey, look at that. All right. So, again, it's going to be a great discussion. So, we're looking at what Donald Trump is proposing for the U.S. And we know from before any of us were born, this is the policy going back to the 1800s in the U.S. The 14th Amendment of their Constitution, adopted in 1868, that said that anyone born in the U.S. was a U.S. citizen.
Right.
And we've known that, and many Bahamians have taken advantage of this, gone over there to have their children so they can be U.S. citizens. But Trump has already issued an executive order last month, the first day of his second, that would make birthright citizenship conditional on the legal status of one's parents, targeting many of the hundreds of thousands of children born each year to immigrants. The order's been challenged as unconstitutional and expected to be held up and potentially blocked by courts before it comes into effect. Now, there's a really interesting article from Time magazine from a few days ago looking at birthright citizenship across the world, and it is not an automatic thing. It is, according to the article, mainly a Western Hemisphere thing, and they talk about it based on colonial experiences and the colonial interest trying to outnumber native populations, and this is why they went in this direction. We know we have an interesting situation here in the Bahamas, and Deneisha and Steffon, I want to read what the Bahamas' constitution says about this. This is Article 7, for people born in the Bahamas of non-citizen parents. It says, a person born in the Bahamas after the 9th of July, 1973, neither of whose parents is a citizen of the Bahamas, shall be entitled, upon making application on his attaining the age of 18 years or within 12 months thereafter, in such a manner as may be prescribed, to be registered as a citizen of the Bahamas, provided that he is a citizen of some country other than the Bahamas. He shall not be entitled to be registered as a citizen of the Bahamas under this article unless he renounces his citizenship, and so on and so forth. But all right, so about what Trump is doing there and the potential ramifications, the pros and the cons, if the Bahamas were to consider something similar, as in one of your parents had to be a legal citizen, a legal resident, at least, of the country, the implications for something like that. So I want to begin with your impression of what Trump is doing, and then we can talk about this in the Bahamian context. Deneisha, ladies first.
Thank you so much, Dwight. So good morning again, everyone in the Bahamas. What Trump is doing. I guess my initial reaction to that question is obviously the steps that he's taking at the moment are quite dangerous in many respects. I don't think that it's necessarily something that is a surprise to many people. Because we've been here before, but I think the ramifications this go around are indeed frightening. And of course, the birthright citizenship conversation is something that's very close to my heart. And to see that in a place like the United States, where this is, basically such an entrenched part of the United States laws, it really is quite a very shocking, I think, testament to what we are up against. So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Difficult times indeed.
Steffon, your view.
So what's happening in the United States is concerning the same sentiments, but I will say this. In democratic nations, the very fabric of democracy is always linked to the strength of a government's collaboration with its people. And so autocratic tendencies, they sort of go against the natural way that democracy was created, to achieve the intention. What happens when sweeping decisions are made very quickly and a lot of thought and consultation isn't given into making or attempting to make these large changes are unintended consequences. And we see with a lot of different types of policies, and particularly those that obviously impact people's ability to live and move around and work and go to school and be productive members of society. Because the thing is, immigration is a touchy subject, and it is very important to get a handle when I guess there are challenges that are obvious, but not just obvious, but statistically proven challenges, moving in facts and not just based on opinion or perception, which are important as well, but not as part of the policy process inherently as making data-driven decisions. But ultimately speaking, when sweeping decisions are made and people are impacted, you will see a diminishing of the intended positive outcomes of such policies, which look at building an economy that was built by people from all around the world and setting a model for the rest of the world to follow that looks at the positives of immigration. I think when we think about the tremendous challenges, especially as Bahamians, that we know illegal immigration can have on a country and its culture and its economy, sometimes we become really concerned, but we don't recognize or always take the time to think about all of the tremendous benefits to a country that in many instances we say that we want to emulate. I'm not sure that fully on board with that train, but there are definitely lots of positives that can be taken. And when it comes to the management of immigration, it's not just the process of eliminating large groups of people with a sweep, but it's also thinking about how to do this in a way that respects human rights and how to do this in a way that does not take away the potential benefits of why this came to be in the first place, because it wasn't just an arbitrary decision to bring new folks into the country and to properly create pathways for them to be properly integrated into society. So as we think about that, I think that the positives and the benefits to our economy and our way of life are things that we must consider when we want to get engaged in those sorts of conversations.
All right, so I want a two-part question here then. So is it so wrong, though, to want folks to come to your country, but to want them to do it in the legal way, to follow the rules when seeking to come to the country? And the second part is, Steffon, you made a very interesting point there. But again, this was adopted in 1868. The U.S. definitely a totally different country at the time. Is it relevant today? Do you not need to make changes based on the shifts in realities in your country?
Well, I think that there are a few ways that you can think about that. One, I will definitely say, as an advocate and someone to practice what I preach in all of the work that I do, it is very important to listen to the sentiments of the community. And so if people are feeling as though the migration issue is greatly impacting them, in addition to the statistics on how people migrate illegally, for example, then it is important to put measures in place and to make adjustments and to listen to the voices of the people, but to do so in a measured way. But on the other side is also the advent of, yes, things have changed. However, it's almost an unethical train of thought to consider that we will build a nation on the backs of so many people from all over the world, and now the times have changed and we're done. We're just going to put them out. Because the reality of the matter is not everybody does so illegally. And that's why it's important to bring in statistics into the conversation so people can get a measured glimpse of the actual situation. And so if folks have, they've come in and the country has benefited greatly from cheap foreign labor, and done so through folks that are both there legally and illegally, having a better idea of what that ratio is going to be important. And I think that doing so in a respectful way that acknowledges that we would not be the great country that we are today had it not been for many of these policies. How do we move forward and maintain partnerships with these countries that have, in essence, contributed to building this magnificent machine?
Deneisha, Deneisha, I want you to respond to that. Again,
as someone with my background is I'm a legal professional with a specialization in international refugee law. So from my perspective, obviously people, states have the right to determine how people will enter their countries, and they have the right to regulate what that kind of entry. That's just from a normal migratory perspective. But then there are circumstances where, and that again is my sort of background, is enforced migration, where you have a different set of rules that apply in different circumstances. So I think what we see in the United States is a little bit chaotic because everyone's sort of being swiped with the same brush in a way. And so when like you asked the question before, Dwight, like whether people have the right to come in and claim asylum. I mean, that is a fundamental human right. And the protections that come with that are fundamentally different than the protections that come along with a normal migrant. So I think it's important to distinguish the different categories of people we are talking about. And I think we see something like a similar situation happening with the citizenship question. Like, the idea of stripping people of their nationality if they're naturalized citizens. I mean, it doesn't really work like that. I think it's just to say it's very important to kind of recognize the different categories of people that we are talking about and the different protections that they are entitled to, and then responding in the way. But yes, absolutely. Of course, states have the right to have in their borders, but that doesn't mean that they can dispense of people's individual human rights in responding to certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
So, like with the situation with the U.S., where there was a relaxed, I guess, enforcement of the immigration laws, and they are now saying that it's overrun with more than they can handle, or people didn't follow the right process. Enforcing their law now, should that be a problem?
I mean, but that also comes with due process, right? So, I mean, in my understanding of, like, for example, Venezuelans who had some sort of temporary protective status in the United States, the conditions of that, you cannot from one day to the next. And again, I don't know all the details, but in my head, it would seem to me you cannot from one day to the next preclude, okay, this is over, you have to go home. In a refugee context, there are certain set of steps that needs to happen before voluntary repatriation comes into play. And I put the emphasis on voluntary repatriation because there are circumstances where you can have a refugee flow and the situation in that country of origin may change, but it may not change for everyone. So people who are forced to leave home and they are fleeing and they receive some sort of legal protection in the country of asylum. With that legal protection comes certain rights to remain in the country until it is deemed safe for them to go home. But that doesn't, because there's a change in administration that says we don't want you here anymore. So what is the due process that has been followed? Like, how have they arrived at this conclusion that it's safe in certain countries to return home? And also, like, yeah, I mean, there's no information clearly about what this procedure looks like. And just also to preface it by, I haven't been following so much those conversations in the US. I've been focused more on the citizenship questions, but just generally speaking, my comments are sort of in the general context.
Yeah. All right. So let's bring this a little closer to home with our situation here. Not exactly the same birthright citizenship. I don't think people would call that, but you are basically entitled to apply at the age of 18. Whether you get it, that's a different story, but most seem to believe that most are successful. Do you see this as potential encouraging folks to take the chance and have children in the Bahamas? And what will be the ramifications, the implications of removing this entitlement?
So, okay, so just maybe to zoom out a little bit and be clear about a few things. So, again, I think I just sort of made reference to this before, but in the same way that states have the right to determine who comes into the borders, states also have the right to determine who its citizens are. They have the right to regulate their nationality laws. And this, by and large, means that they can determine whether citizenship is acquired by descent or by birth on the territory, or a combination of both. Like that is within the remit of a state. It's also really important, I think, to recognize that this is not an absolute right. This right that states have is subject to international law. So, for example, a state cannot make nationality laws that are discriminatory on the basis of race or gender. Right? So states can also not make nationality laws that arbitrarily deny or revoke nationality if it leaves the individual stateless. So in essence, while states have this right to determine who its nationals are, they also have an obligation to avoid creating cases of statelessness. So I just kind of wanted to preface the conversation around that, because I think when we approach this question about legal status and who's in the country and whether they should have access to nationality, it's really important to understand that as sort of like the baseline.
All right. That's very important. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Go on. I want to follow up on that, but go on, and we'll come back to that.
I was just going to then bring it to the question about children born in the country. So, so if we keep in mind everything I've just said, and then we now look at the question of whether a child born in a country should have the right to acquire nationality conditioned on the legal status of their parent. There are also important legal considerations and principles to take into account, right? So first is the principle of the best interest of the child. I mean, this is a principle that requires states to have the best interest of every child as a primary consideration in every decision that they take in relation to that child. Second is a principle: all children are individual rights holders. That means they hold their own rights and responsibilities, and those rights are not dependent on the legal status or other conditions relating to their parents. They are individual right holders, right? So a child, every person has a right to nationality, and every child has a right to a nationality. And the child's right to the nationality is not dependent on the legal status of their parents. So it's really important to kind of also keep that in mind when we have this conversation. And I think the third really important consideration to think about is the obligation of the state. So we're talking about children. It means we are concerned with the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. And so what does that essentially mean in terms of the right to nationality for the child? That is where you find that right. The right of every child to a nationality is contained in the CRC Convention, and also contained in the CRC Convention is the obligation of every state to protect that right. And that is especially when a child is stateless. So all of that is to say, whether a child, is born to parents and they have legal status or not, I mean, again, like a state can determine who its nationals are, but there are some limitations when we are who, for example, doesn't have another nationality.
Wow. And would it make a difference if it were permanent residency that you were able to grant to the child as opposed to citizenship? Would that be considered a violation?
So I get it, Dwight, but a child has a right to a nationality, not permanent residence. There are certain rights that come with citizenship that do not come with permanent residency. And, waiting for the child to turn 18 so that they can apply for nationality when they don't have another nationality. So I'm not talking about cases where the child has another nationality and then they have this entitlement that they could apply under Article 7 of the Constitution. I'm talking about children who don't have a nationality. It's not appropriate to expect them to wait until 18 to apply to have a nationality.
Can I just ask you to define for those of us who are listening, including me, when a child does not have a nationality? What situation would make a child not have nationality? Because
what situation, or what does it? So a stateless child or a child without nationality is a child who is not considered as a national by any state under the operation of their law. And there are many ways that a child can become stateless, right? So, for instance, to answer that question, we have to think about how we acquire our nationality. And generally speaking, we acquire our nationality in one of a few ways. We either acquire it from both of our parents at birth, or we acquire it through where we are born, or we acquire it through both of those mechanisms. Right? So generally, most children will acquire a nationality at birth. Okay. So because most children in the world are born to two parents from the same country in that country where they are from. Okay. So this is a general situation. So two Japanese parents who have a child in Japan, the child is Japanese at birth. because in Japan, nationality law operates through descent.
Okay.
For example, in a case like Venezuela, for example, and this is also true for most of Latin American countries, they follow the principle of jus soli. So nationality is generally acquired by birth on the territory.
Okay.
The problem happens when a birth occurs outside those kinds of norms. So a child who is born to two Venezuelan parents in Japan is not necessarily a Venezuelan national at birth, because Venezuela is following the principle of jus soli and Japan is not. They're following the principle of jus sanguinis. So descent, so nationality in Japan comes through through descent.
Right.
I don't know if I explained that very well, but just
you did.
yeah. So I also want to clarify that. So in some of these instances where a child may be born in a foreign country, there may be conditions attached before they could be recognized by the home, but by the nationality, the country of
Parents.
the
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And that might be, for example, they may have to register them at the consulate, which obviously is going to be a problem if they are refugees.
Right.
Or sometimes there's a residency requirement attached to that. Until recently, that was a situation with Cuba. If you were outside the country for a certain number of years, you couldn't pass on your nationality. And if you tried to apply for it, you were required to move back to Cuba. And that situation in another country somewhere else in the world. So it's not, we can't take for granted that a child born in a foreign country will automatically acquire nationality from their parents, because sometimes you have these conflicts of laws.
Yeah.
In addition to that, we have gender discrimination, which means that in some instances, a child born in certain circumstances will not even if there wasn't a conflict of laws, there's the parents may not be able to pass on citizenship because of their sex. Or your child may be born in a foreign country to two stateless parents. And so there is no nationality to then acquire from their parents. So there are a number of situations, and this is the situation facing stateless people in the United States, of which there is a small population that people don't recognize. But when the former Soviet Republic broke up, for example, there were people who were in the United States claiming asylum and waiting for a decision on their applications. And when the union broke up, they suddenly became citizens of nowhere. And those people,
Wow.
I actually have a friend who's in that state, because there is no pathway for them to regularize for them to acquire citizenship. So there are, and I kind of only touched on 3 or 4 ways, but there are a number of ways how people can become stateless.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so sorry, I said a mouthful.
But it was good.
I'm very passionate about this.
We hear you. We're talking with Deneisha Moss Balboni with the Institute on Statelessness and Inclusion, and we're talking with Steffon Evans, a community organizer and policy advocate. All right, so I got to ask you this. We've got a lot of calls and texts. So what do you say to people who will hear this and say, if we continue on this path, the Bahamas, we're going to end up with more people who were born to folks who were not here legally, and that they're going to outnumber the people who were born here to people who are second, third, fourth generation Bahamians. What do you say to that and those fears, which are, I'm sure you both know, very common and rampant?
I mean, sorry.
Oh, you could go ahead.
I just wanted
Deneisha,
to quickly, I just really wanted to quickly point out something. When we talk about preventing statelessness amongst people born in the territory, it is not a clarion call or like a suggestion that a state should recognize everyone born in its territory as a citizen. That is completely the wrong answer. So I think we need to dispel this notion that what people, when we talk about this issue, is that we should have a jus soli provision that gives citizenship to everyone. That's not the answer. The answer is to have safeguards in your law in the event that there is a child born in the territory who doesn't have a nationality. For the overwhelming majority of people born in a person's territory, they will have nationality from their parents. But in cases where, like the Bahamas, where we, our citizenship is acquired through descent, we should have, and countries that operate like that should have a safeguard in their laws that say where this child is found, for example, in a bin, and we don't know where the child came from, we will presume that the child was born to a Bahamian parents on the territory of Bahamas and therefore a Bahamian citizen. Where the child is born to Venezuelan or Costa Rican or a mixed nationality family, and for whatever reason that child didn't acquire either nationality of the parent at birth, then that child has a pathway to Bahamian citizenship. So I just wanted to be really clear about that, because I know that it's a very topical issue, but yeah, just to be clear.
Okay. So I'll chime in, and that expertise is very helpful, Deneisha. I've learned so much already. But I'll say this from the perspective working within communities. Bahamian people is paramount. I certainly want to establish that. The challenge with cultural behaviors is that they are informed by the availability or lack thereof of information. And that is not to suggest that anybody is automatically unfounded or baseless in an assertion that we might be, as Bahamians with two Bahamian parents, outnumbered by anyone that in any other regard or circumstance gained citizenship. But the reality is, if you listen to different reports on the numbers of folks that live here legally versus illegally that are Bahamian parent from another country or any other circumstance, the discrepancies are so vast that they are more than we can use to come to any sound conclusion on what the actual situation is. And so when we think about policy reform to address challenges like illegal immigration or concerns that are cultural about what it means to be a Bahamian, which are conversations that we very well should be having as communities around the country, the challenge then becomes, if everybody is having these conversations and potentially and unintentionally spreading misinformation about the situation because nobody knows what's actually going on, we have a problem. There was a comment that came up that looked at the efficiency, the operational efficiency of certain government services, like, let's say, for example, the Department of Immigration or whichever departments deal with immigration in different countries around the world. A part of the issue that does come up is our ability to process these cases on a case-by-case basis so that we don't have these unintended consequences. And so if we work for better operational efficiency and enforcement and oversight and the collection and distribution of data and the freedom of information, of course, so we can have access to what's going on, so that when there are maybe instances of corruption or the abuse of power that's used in matters related to citizenship, all of those things can be addressed in an effective way, in a way that tackles the actual issue, in a way that sort of helps the unrest within communities to subside. Because then what you will have are efficient operations of these organizations and government agencies that are dealing with the issues. You will have the inclusion of the voices of communities. You will have the collaboration of NGOs locally and internationally that work on the issue. So the picture that we paint about the situation will be so less based on maybe one or two sensationalized instances or stories that pop up. And so I think it's really important to not isolate anyone and to automatically say that their concern is baseless or incorrect. Created a landscape where we can progress nationally and effectively because we don't have the information that we need, and we have to always continually look at the operational efficiency and effectiveness of all of the relevant agencies that are dealing with the issue.
Wow. Okay. A lot's been said. We've got a lot of questions, a lot of comments on our text line. You can call in as well. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. You can tweet us, you can Facebook us, you can text us, 422-4796. Let's take this call, and then we'll get your text messages. caller. Good morning. You're on Morning Blend Business. Hi, good morning.
Good morning to the Crest and your panel.
Hi.
Morning.
Yeah, she's being very fair and balanced in her demeanor, like narratives, right? But for me, I'm looking at the colonial construct and why hasn't, especially our neighbors to the south, why haven't anybody coerced them to turning to France to look to rid them of this problem, right? I heard about an atrocity in Haiti just now. And so we're looking at the international community collaborating together to make conditions better for immigration to be impeded in some way. So they're doing all of that, but there's no effort for that. And so,
all right, so we weren't just talking about Haiti,
the question
though.
I have to ask for us as Bahamians, right? How clairvoyant or active has the government been since the colonial immigration laws, etc., as far as our foreign policy? Because I don't see any foreign policy. Like, for me, foreigners shouldn't be able to come into the country and get everything free, healthcare, education, etc., etc. So what do you think about that? Because, I mean, there's no clairvoyance here. There's no concern for the citizen. There's no concern for national security. If they're doing that to themselves in Haiti, what do you think they will do here when they get the right numbers? We're all being very naive and deceived.
Okay. Again, we weren't only talking about Haiti there and France. I don't know if any of you want to respond to that.
The only thing that I could say once again is the challenge that we create when we do not think about because a lot of folks have this great debate about what rights folks should be entitled to when they are in another man's land in someone else's country. We exacerbate community level challenges when we do not have programs and accommodations in place for folks that are migrating, especially when we're talking legal migration. And some of these protections that are put in place, especially when it deals with children living in another country and affording them the rights and opportunities like education and healthcare and the other rights that we are entitled to as citizens, statistically speaking, they actually contribute to a more livable society, because what we find is when people don't have access to basic necessities, a lot of the social ills that come as a result of that and the strain that is placed like on the healthcare system, or you see the increase in crime that is due to folks not being able to care for themselves and having to find alternative means of getting by. Those things impact everybody that lives in any country, and the same can be said for people that migrate to a country. So the only thing that I can really say is in the conversation around ensuring that everybody that lives in the country has an opportunity to do well and to have access to have their basic needs and necessities met, that actually paves the way for folks to become contributing members of society, even if they are, for instance, waiting until they're 18 to apply for citizenship, and ultimately having those strong infrastructures in place and agencies, once again, that function efficiently help to build the economy and curb some social issues, as opposed to the opposite, which is often the assumption.
I just wanted to say I wholeheartedly agree with what Steffon said. Like, I mean, I think an excluded, poorly socialized, poorly integrated community is the antithesis of social cohesion and national development. I do understand the concerns about who will pay for this, and children in particular have the right to education. Like, it's required that they have access to education wherever they are. And the same goes for healthcare, regardless of legal status, nationality, like on a non-discriminatory basis. So I work in a number of countries where access to education for stateless children is a huge issue. Because in some countries, like, you actually need to prove your citizenship to be able to access basic primary education, which is in clear contravention of international law. And so while I understand the sentiment, I also kind of zoom out and understand what would your community look like around you if, there was a significant proportion that didn't have access to education and healthcare. Like, what does that mean in terms of, like, what does that look like? So I guess, yeah, I mean, this would be kind of my takeaway from it. And I understand it's a difficult conversation to have, but I think this also speaks to the point of understanding and regularizing the status of people in your country and having a system that, that's kind of tries to recognize who should be there, who shouldn't be there, that is humane, that is, it's difficult, but the big picture in mind as well.
Yeah, and I do want to make sure that we do not diminish the fact that there is a huge burden placed on that country if there is an excessive population of illegal people or those who are seeking that overtakes an education system or a medical system, and that, like you said, a proper process perhaps is needed for that, so that those who, and I hear you saying that every child should, but we're not just only talking about children here, so that everyone has access to good education, good medical support, because it's not being overrun and supplies are being stretched, and all of them would look like that provides that sort of help so that it isn't chaotic. But currently, and Steffon, I hear you saying statistics, but currently I feel that it is overrun and something needs to be done.
So, and the only thing I would just quickly say is that I think the conversation around illegal immigration and legal immigration represent two very different and unique challenges that need to be addressed simultaneously.
Yes.
And so I think sometimes when we talk about the issue and what we're seeing in the US, for example, why we're saying just a sweeping brush for everybody is not effective is because it sort of quells the concern around the illegal immigration issue. But there's also the matter of the legal immigration that talking about as well, making sure that these developments are yes, factoring in human rights for all, but addressing one side of the issue, which is much easier to quantify and manage because you have a better idea of what's going on. It's well within the control of your country. You can deal with things on a case-by-case basis, while also recognizing the very adverse impacts of illegal immigration. And I guess sometimes as advocates, especially when we think about the welfare of all people, it can come across as though we're promoting the idea of that it's illegal immigration of all people, but that's not what's being said. The thing is, when we sweep over to one side or the other, we're divvying into potentially dangerous territory, and then we're going to find ourselves in the face of many other unanticipated issues when we divvy too far on one side and the next without the recognition that we have to look nationally at both, at making sure that there are inefficiencies of the legal immigration system while we try to stomp out and combat to the best of our ability the illegal immigration challenge, which is vast and definitely very concerning.
Yeah. So you're saying that, but that's all that people hear, though. And we're getting lots of text messages saying this. What about national security? We see the schism, I think they're trying to say, in our schools. Others are saying we're being outnumbered, and eventually we will be outnumbered. You guys are brainwashed and too liberal. Illegal immigration interfaces with drugs, guns, and human trafficking as well. What do you say to that? The fear that we will be outnumbered if we continue on this path, and this will be, I don't know, like a Cayman Islands eventually.
I mean, my response to that is based on what evidence, like where does the evidence for that statement come from?
And I would just say that if we do nothing, we will definitely have a problem. I want to be very, very clear about that. If there isn't progress and movement, but to that point, it's very important that everybody has a voice and a seat at the table. And I always like to say in the work that I do, I have to listen to things that I might personally agree with or disagree with. And much of what I've shared today is just based off of best practices and standards, principles, and benchmarks, and not necessarily my own personal view. Although I align very closely with what I've said personally as well. But the reality is if different voices are brought to the table, and they're done in a way that is respectful, and then we'll land on a conclusion that makes sure that all of the concerns are heard. We just need to make sure that where there are folks that are being impacted by the challenges of illegal immigration, for instance, and then there are folks that are working in the space and understand the intricacies of economic development and progress and the benefits of legal immigration, that those voices can come together and put forward evidence-based solutions that factor in what is actually going on, so that we're not using resources to address challenges that might not be as expansive as they appear, or might be more expansive than they appear. But that we take the time out to make sure that we are grounded in our decision-making process. And such can be done urgently, when I'm not suggesting that we time because nothing's wrong. But hasty decision-making is a big part of why, for example, family islanders are left out of so many conversations. And so that's an instance where we see quick and sweeping decisions that are made that benefit folks that might be out. It's just another instance of the decision-making process, and why it's important to consult with people before we make these grand changes, because then once again, the consequences and instances that may have been addressed often end up left out when we ignore certain perspectives, or we don't take into consideration voices from various stakeholders on different matters.
Yeah. Deneisha, I'm going to go back to something you said. We got a lot of calls coming in, and we're running out of time. We might need to have a part two or even three of this. But you said it, the aim is to not have anyone be stateless. So there are lots of people who would not be stateless based on where they are from. What would be the implications, ramifications, were to just say, fine, you can apply at 18, but we really are not going to grant citizenship to most of the people who do this? What would happen there? You said countries have the right to do that.
Yeah. I think, I don't know how to answer that, Dwight, because I don't know what the situation looks like in the Bahamas, right? Like there's no statelessness determination procedure in the Bahamas. And so we have no idea of if what is is there a population of people who don't have access to nationality who were born in the Bahamas? We don't know, because we don't have a mechanism to identify them. And that ill, right? I suppose that is something that is becoming more prevalent in some parts of the world, but we don't really have that. So I'm not suggesting that the government says I would suggest rather that if we wanted to ensure that we don't have stateless children being born in our country, that we would think about looking at ways to implement safeguards to prevent that from happening, and then also identify whether there are any children who have fallen through those gaps. Because I understand that most people will hear me speaking and they will be like, oh, she's talking about all the children of Haitian descent, which is not actually the case. So, because children may have Haitian nationality from their parents. So let's just be clear. I understand what people are going to say about this. But the point is, maybe all of them don't. And there may be other children born to parents of other nationalities that fall into this situation. So if we want to abide by our international obligations under the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, we would be actively trying to prevent statelessness from occurring at birth on the territory for children who are born to non-Bahamians. But in order to do that, that requires implementing a safeguard in law, and to kind of fix any of those issues that may be existing. It would require us to see what the situation is, to understand to what extent we already have a population that falls into that category.
Wow. Okay.
And also just to say, and Dwight, I'm sorry, but it's really important to say, it is not okay to take the position that it's fine, they can wait until 18 years old, because it's very clear from the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child, which is the body that monitors implementation of the convention, that the right to nationality is something that you cannot, it's never in a child's best interest to be stateless. So it's not something you can make them wait until 18. And if you think about the implications of being stateless, the fact that you may not be able to continue your education, you may not be able to go to school, there are tons of problems that stateless children face. You cannot move around, you don't have freedom of movement, you don't have the right to leave and return to your country. Like, your human rights are severely impacted. So it's not okay for a stateless child to have to wait until 18 years old to be able to apply for citizenship, which in that instance is discretionary. So yes, that would kind of be like.
And if you just removed it entirely, there's no path. We talked about, yes, the statelessness.
I mean, you could remove it entirely, but you should still have a safeguard in law. I mean, so the point here is that our nationality is acquired on the basis of descent. It means for anyone who's born in our country who's non-Bahamian, they are depending on their parents for nationality. It's fine to have nationality laws that operate solely on jus sanguinis, but it is also important in that kind of context that you have a safeguard to prevent against statelessness. So forget about Article 7 altogether. This is that's moot. Even if we never had Article 7, it would still be important to have a safeguard against statelessness in law.
All right. So there's so much more to talk about. This text just sums it up. We got a lot of text messages, a lot not happy people texting in. But this one says, a great show today, very unique, very interesting. This birth citizenship discussion or national act discussion. I know people are scared because of the possible difficulties with the conversation, but we at least need to have this 3 days of the week. Oh boy. You've inspired me to read up on rules and or laws on birthplace citizenship and or paths to nationalities for various nations. Well, to look at where we are and where we're heading. And I really want to thank our guests, Deneisha Moss Balboni and Steffon Evans, for being a part of it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And providing some clarity on a number of issues. Really appreciate you both always.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dwight. This was really good.
Thank you
so much. Have a good day, guys.
You too. All the way from the Netherlands and Eleuthera.
Yeah.
We appreciate you both. DeQuestadine, thank you for being here this morning.
Joy.
Folks, pick up today's NASA Guardian and the Guardian Business section for the latest in business news, including a major development with Water and Sewage Corporation and more. Brought to you in part by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. We're going to be back tomorrow with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight, Strachan, have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already created the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.